Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Prescott Town Council's meeting for November 7th, 2022 at 6 o'clock. That's the last meeting of this term, so I will call it to order. I don't think we're going to be here too long this evening, but thanks to everyone out there for joining us and those in here for joining us. Nice to have people back in the room again post-COVID. I will note as we begin the meeting, the call to order, the usual land acknowledgements. We'll begin this meeting of council by acknowledging that we are meeting on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabeg, and the Oneida and the Haudenosaunee peoples. Item 2 is approval of the agenda tonight. I would ask council for permission if we just move items 10 and 11 to the bottom and flip them. I'd like to go last tonight if everyone's okay with that, so we get councilors a chance to say our last words. And myself to say my last words on this term of council. Some obviously are coming back, some are leaving this evening, and I think we'll wrap up with that. It seems most fitting. If everyone's okay with that, we'll just do that little switch with the order. And in terms of approval of the agenda, the recommendation reads that the agenda for the council meeting November 7th, 2022 be approved as amended. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Young, seconded by Councillor Jansen. All those in favor? Motion is carried. Thank you, everyone. Item 3, declarations of interest. I'm going to declare again on item 13.1, that resolution on Bill 3. So Ray, I'm glad this worked out. I'd like to say I planned it this way, but I'm actually very glad it did work out because I'm glad to give you time in the chair.
How long do I have?
As long as you want. You're the boss at that point. You can drag it on.
So the 15th.
Any other declarations of interest this evening from other members of council? Seeing none, thanks everyone. So 4 presentations, nothing tonight. 5 delegations, nothing tonight. Moving on to item 6, we've got our minutes of our previous council meetings, and 6.1 is meeting October 12th, 2022. That's that last meeting of our tri-council group, Augusta and Edwardsburg Cardinal, and of course ourselves. Recommendation reads that the tri-council minutes dated October 12, 2022 be accepted as presented. Could I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Ostrander, seconder. Councillor Jansman. Any discussion on that set of minutes from the tri-council meeting? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Thanks, everyone. And 6.2 we have from October, bless you, from October 17, 2022. That's our council meeting minutes from our last council meeting. Recommendation reads that the council minutes dated October 17, 2022 be accepted as presented. Could I ask for a mover, please? Moved by Councillor McConnell, seconder. Councillor Shankar. Any discussion on that set of minutes? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. Item 7, communications and petitions. Nothing formally on the agenda there this evening. Under 8, consent reports, and as always, everything listed under consent are to be considered routine and enacted by the single motion. So I'll ask before I read that single motion if anyone wants to split off 8.1 and 8.2 to bring about something additional there and speak to either item separately. Saying no, so I will read the recommendation, and that's that all items listed under the consent report section of the agenda be accepted as presented, and that is 8.1, the information package, and 8.2, staff report 105-2022 on emergency management. That's the annual report of the program. Can I have a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Shankar, seconded by Councillor Burton. Any discussion? All those in favor? Motion is carried. So 9 under committee reports, we have none this evening. As noted, we'll move 10 and 11 down to go 11 and then 10 at the end of the meeting tonight. So we do have a number of items under, well, actually just a couple items under staff reports tonight. 12.1 is staff report 106-2022. That's from the tri-council meeting from October 12th again, dealing with recommendations. And I will see there are 2 recommendations coming forward. First, that council's, well, it's joined, so it's a single motion, that council support the Planet Youth Resolution as outlined in staff report 106-2022, and that council endorsed the non-financial physician recruitment initiatives outlined in staff report 106-2022 and consider the financial alternatives as part of the 2023 budget process. Could I ask for a mover, please? Moved by Councillor Burton, seconded by Councillor Shankar. Ms. Velke, did you have any comments on your report on those two items, those two priorities from the Tri-Council Committee?
Yeah, through you. So this report is just highlighting some of the discussions that took place in the direction that was provided from out of the Tri-Council to staff from the reports that were provided at that meeting. The motion that Planet Youth had requested that the town of Prescott accept was brought forward to the Tri-Council, and that motion is included in the report, as well as a motion that came out of the physician recruitment from that meeting as well.
Very good, thank you. Comments, questions on that Tri-Council initiatives report? Seeing nothing, I just wanted to thank staff in particular for all that hard work on the Tri-Council. I mean, that did come, we had that special meeting added at the end, and I know people weren't entirely thrilled with that as we saw some of the attendance, but it was a really good meeting and it was a nice capper for what's been a really nice process that I think will continue on. I hope will continue on under the new councils, because that regional work we're doing together is really important. And these are just two of the items that group will hopefully be working on in the new term of council. So with that, no further comments, I will call the question. All in favor? Motion is carried. And 12.2, 2018-2022 council term and review. Mr. Armstrong, I think that's up to you, please.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. And so we just want to provide an opportunity to go through some of the accomplishments that we've had over the last 4 years. And certainly some of them started even before that. So I'm going to quickly go through this. And so obviously this is our executive team that has worked through these last 4 years. And I would say it is a very successful 4 years and term of council. So just reminding what the vision and mission are, and it's to be recognized as a welcoming and progressive community. The mission being to provide responsible leadership that celebrates our achievements and invests in our future. And that was developed as part of the strategic plan completed in 2020. Completed the new fire hall, also established 2 new automatic aid agreements, one with the Township of Augusta and the other one with Edwardsburg Cardinal, which actually increased revenue by about 100%. Centennial Park, there was significant investment made in Centennial Park, and that's the adding of the community splash pad. We made improvements to the beach, added a mural along the Coast Guard wall, added a non-motorized dock for canoes and kayaks, re-sided the pool building, installed the mural in the pool building. The pool pump was replaced, as well as the filter was rebuilt, and we started on shoreline stabilization. Obviously, the recreation complex was a massive undertaking and achievement that we're pleased to say is over the halfway mark and is quickly showing just kind of the size and magnitude of the building, and what will be for service for years to come. And so the overall recreation area will be the Seymour Recreation Complex. The land was generously donated by the Seymour family, and obviously the Lanshire Community Center, which was a result of a large donation from the Chartrain family, as well as a whole host of other individuals and organizations that contributed towards the arena and complex. A large part of what we did in this term of council was about collaboration with our neighbors. So we had a successful joint infrastructure applications for the new recreation complex of 9.7 million, replacement of the water tower of 5.1 million. Both of those were joint with Augusta. We completed a joint service delivery review with the Township of Augusta. We also completed a joint land needs analysis between Augusta and Prescott, and for southern portions of the Augusta Township to Maitland. We completed a servicing agreement for the extension of water and sewer to Augusta Landings, which just recently completed a couple of weeks ago. Successful recruitment and implementation of a shared bylaw officer with the Township of Augusta. We established the River Route Transit Service with the Township of Augusta, Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal, and the City of Brockville. And I'm happy to report that we achieved our highest ridership day on Friday with 56 individuals riding the bus.
Terrific.
We implemented a common electronic building and bylaw software platform between Township of Augusta and Township of Edwardsburg Cardinal. And we also had joint council meetings, which we started out with the Township of Augusta. And then we moved to having tri-council meetings with both Augusta and Edwardsburg Cardinal. Economic development achievements, community improvement plan for 2018 to 2022. We approved grants of over $500,000. That's $500,000 that spurred investment of over $10 million. We have also approved loans of over $400,000. We entered into 6 vacant land sale agreements for commercial, industrial, and residential developments. We were the lead municipality in the collaboration with the townships of Augusta and Edwardsburg Cardinal for the Digital Main Street initiative to support e-commerce for local businesses and to get them through COVID-19. We completed the official plan review and economic development strategy for the town of Prescott. Riverwalk revitalization, we had new street furnishings, promenade for the very first time, visitor center completely revitalized. The business improvement area collaborations are beyond what we've ever experienced in the past. We've revitalized the farmers market and crafters market. And then we've embarked upon the Prescott pop-ups, which will grow in years to come. We supported over 40 business openings and expansions, and we have tourism development focusing on cycling, diving, and experiential things that you can actually partake in and enjoy here in Prescott. From a community services standpoint, we reorganized the reporting structure to dedicate resources to community services. We focused on maximizing the facility usage by the town and third parties. We have successful partnership now 2 years in the books with YMCA to run our parks program, park program, and for the first time, they offered summer camps here in Prescott. We created a new museum space and enhanced the display of the collection, expanded the recreational, cultural, and leisure offerings, and we participated in Indigenous recognition and enhanced that considerably over the last couple of years. Finally, we have infrastructure renewal and enhancement. We reconstructed Dibble Street East from Boundary all the way to Edward, which is approximately 0.6 of a kilometer. We replaced the snowplow truck and sidewalk plow, replaced 2 docks at the marina, installed shade sails, solar lighting, bicycle repair stations, all in support of active transportation, installed 7 electric vehicle chargers, and completed the pavement condition survey for the first time, and have been able to increase our annual repaving budget to $300,000 per year. So we would have liked to have covered absolutely everything that we've done in the course of the last couple of years, but we didn't have 3 hours, and so certainly we wanted to get the highlights, and certainly that speaks to the leadership that has occurred at this table, and for that, staff very much thanks you.
Thanks very much. Now I don't know what I'm going to say later. I think you pretty much covered everything, but the only thing I wanted to add to that is that was the last 4 years, the great team here, the great team at Town Hall, the fantastic team with the operations, partners of the fire department. I mean, the whole town of Prescott team. It's been a superb experience the last 4 years. And that is during COVID-19, when we basically had one hand tied behind our back for much of the last 2.5 years now, and we're not entirely out of the woods yet, but we're getting there, and some economic issues that still have to be dealt with. But I mean, you see what was done here in Prescott with COVID-19 causing all its issues. You really got to be positive over what the next 4 years we'll see here in Prescott once we're through COVID and we're back to running on all 8 cylinders again. Any comments from any member of council this evening? They said we do have the moment at the end for us all as well, but anyone have anything they'd like to mention now? Councilor Young.
May I add that we made the decision to buy a new fire truck. That's a very significant issue. We made the decision to move forward with the water tower, another very significant decisions, and things that the next council won't have to worry about. They may have to pay for them. But
Not all of it, thanks to the grant.
no,
Yeah.
right. But the decisions have been made, and that's moving us forward in the correct direction.
Absolutely. Any other comments? Okay, well, thanks, everyone. And thanks again, Matthew, and everyone on staff here at Town Hall and elsewhere for all your incredibly hard work and how much we see it in the presentation. We see it in the streets. We see it each and every day, I think. And I think a lot of people in town, they do recognize that. I think we've really turned a huge corner in recent years, and we've got the whole town moving in that positive direction that Ray just mentioned. So thanks again. So we'll move on to item 13 on the agenda as presented. So we do have 13.1 on Bill 3, the Strong Mayors Building Homes Act. That is where I will declare that conflict, and I'll allow Councilor Young to take the chair for that item. Who knows? Maybe he won't give it back to me.
So we're on record course tonight for a short meeting, so I won't stall. Bill 3, Strong Mayors Building Homes Act 2022. This has been discussed at this council board level for 2 months anyway. It's been in the news a lot, and our final resolution reads: whereas the town of Prescott is in receipt of a resolution from the town of Wasaga Beach on Bill 3, Strong Mayors Building Homes Act, along with supporting resolutions from the town of Kingsville, town of Plimpton, Wyoming, township of Lucan Bedu, municipality of Huron Shores, and the town of Ravenhurst. Therefore, be it resolved that the council of the town of Prescott supports the resolution of the town of Wasaga Beach that the proposed changes will not demonstrably speed up the construction of housing and will erode the democratic process at the local level where members of council have to work together to achieve priorities. What is needed to speed up construction of housing is greater authority for local municipalities to approve development without final clearances from outside agencies after they have been given reasonable time to provide such clearances. And that a copy of this motion be sent to the Honorable Doug Ford, Premier of Ontario, Honorable MPP Steve Clark, Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing, Association of Municipalities of Ontario, that's AMO, and all municipalities in Leeds and Grenville. So may I have a mover on that motion, please? Councilor Shankar, and seconded by Councilor Michael. I can't imagine there being any debate, but this is your last shot at the issue, so go at it.
I think it's all been said.
Hmm?
I think it's pretty much all been said.
I believe you're right, Lee, and that's not something you hear from me too often, but
I mean, not for me.
it's just my last night, you know.
Thank you.
Anyway, I agree. So may I have a vote on the motions, please? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you.
Good support.
That's take a vote. Just let's get one.
Sure.
So item 14, bylaws. And we do have one more bylaw for this term. That's under 14.1. That's the appointment of a new integrity commissioner for the town of Prescott. As we did note, I think was it last meeting that Mr. Andrew Tremaine is retiring from the position. So the recommendation reads that bylaw 46-2022 being a bylaw to appoint Tony Fleming as the Integrity Commissioner for the Corporation of the Town of Prescott be read and passed, signed by the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Could I ask for a mover, please? Seconded by Councillor Burden. Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? So 15, new business. And I'm going to assume no one has any new business to bring forward. If so, last chance. No new business tonight. 16, notice of motion. Assuming no notices of motion. If so, Gloria, you're going to get off to a rousing start with your first meeting. No notices of motion. 17, mayor's proclamations, nothing tonight. 18, period for media questions. I thought I saw Mr. Runke and I do see him in the reflection in the glass. Any questions, Tim?
Good evening, your worship. No questions. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So 19, closed session, nothing tonight, so nothing under the rising report. So we'll move back to council and the mayor's portion of the evening. We'll start off with council and we'll go around the table in alphabetical order. Folks, take your time on this one tonight. This is the last shot for this term, and for some of us, for likely for maybe for good. You know, never say never for anybody that wants to return. Ray, you made a huge comeback in 2006. I wouldn't want to preclude anybody else from doing so in the future. Oh yeah, never say never. But we'll start with Councilor Burton as always.
Thank you. I just want to wish everybody good health in your next endeavors. And thank you so much for all you've done around the table this last 4 years. So wishing you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Jasmine.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I want to take this opportunity to express my gratitude to the residents of Prescott for giving me the opportunity to sit at this table for the last 8 years. It has taught me so much. For a town that perhaps is considered small in size and population, I was amazed to learn all that it encompasses. From our water and wastewater treatment facilities, to the cost of maintaining our roads, to our marina business, to our long list of infrastructure and all the services we provide, to the budget lines that aren't in our control, to the mandated policies and regulations from higher levels of government, et cetera, et cetera. I could go on, and this doesn't even include responding to residents' inquiries, concerns, and complaints, the human side of things. This is my way of acknowledging my appreciation to our staff. Thank you for making it look a lot easier than it is. It's been a pleasure to work with you. My first term, I was assigned the Finance and Corporate Services portfolio. This provided me with the opportunity of being on the hiring committee for our then treasurer, Matthew Armstrong. And from there, working with him to review and renew all the HR policies for council's approval, along with improving the financial reporting to council. I also represented our town as a council rep on the Lanark Leeds Grenville Board of Health, along with being a member of the Water Wastewater Board, both very regulated in how they service our needs. I welcomed the Economic Development and Building Bylaw portfolio in my second term. It forced me out of my comfort zone to learn the many different layers of economic development, how critical it is to have engagement and relationships outside the town boundaries. I recall being part of the team led by Mayor Todd to first present the drawings of our new arena to the Minister of Infrastructure in Toronto, and feeling the importance of being able to arrange this meeting and it being key to our success. The ever-changing need to review and update our bylaws also became apparent. I'm particularly proud of Prescott's progressive action when it came to implementing changes so to motivate owners of the vacant buildings in our downtown. This portfolio also gave me the role of being chair of the Planning Advisory Committee, a function essential in proper planning and development and use of our town's land. This committee also reviewed for approval the many applications of our Community Improvement Plan program that generated significant investment in our downtown. Council of the last 2 terms accomplished many projects despite the pandemic. Some of my favorites: Prescott now has a beautiful new fire hall, a new splash pad, a new St. Lawrence Street, new council chambers, a repurposed Leo, a new official plan, a river route public bus service, an active pickleball league, a new Diplo Street East, lights at the Heritage walking path, and our new ice arena is well on its way. I'm extremely proud to be part of this team that achieved so much and made such a difference. My decision not to run again was a tough one, as some of the things on my wish list remain undone, such as a stronger relationship with our schools in order to have more youth engagement, using the lighthouse to its full potential, being even more environmentally active, attracting a hotel development, and of course, making our downtown more vibrant. However, these seeds have been planted and I have reason to believe that they will grow. I wish the new council much success. It may not be a full-time job, but done well, it's certainly a full-time commitment. As for me, I'm going to spend my extra time continuing to enjoy our very special town and all it has to offer. My sincere thanks. No longer Councillor Jansman.
8 days left.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Teresa. Councilor McConnell.
I certainly can't do that, but I was thinking about our last meeting today, and I thought back to my first meeting, the first time I ran for council in 2010, and I was very surprised to learn that it was actually a 4-year term rather than a 3-year term. And I thought to myself, geez, 4 years, that's quite a commitment. But here, 3 terms later, 12 years later, I cannot believe how fast each one of those 3 terms and the whole 12 years have gone. And I am very proud to have been a part of what we have accomplished in all of those 3 terms. We've had our difficulties, we've had setbacks, but when you look at many of what Teresa just pointed out there, we've had some tremendous accomplishments in this town in the past 3 terms. Physically, if you walk around town and look, you can see them. And a large part of us being able to do that, in particular in the last 2 years with COVID, has been the guidance and the great work of our staff this term and in terms past. We can't do anything without staff. We don't get paid. This is not a full-time job. We don't get paid for it. We don't have the time for it. We don't have the expertise for it. That's why we hire people to do that. We point the direction and our staff carries the ball, and I think they have carried the ball very well for us. So thank you to our staff for your assistance over the past term, and to previous staff members, if they happen to be listening, to your help over the 2 terms previous to that. I'm looking forward to working with new council, and we have different people have asked me, well, what do you think is going to happen in the new term? And I say to everybody, well, you know, given the direction that we're going, given what we have on taps right now, the rink, the water tower, the planning is all there, the infrastructure is going in. If there was ever a time for a big change in council, this is probably the one, because the new council going forward will be able to build on what's already been done, already been planned, and will actually be able to take some time to get their feet under them, which I found that you just don't walk into this job and away you go. It takes a while to get to know what's going on, where it's going on, who does what, and to get comfortable sitting in this chair. I think Ray and Brett will remember that I didn't have too much to say the first 6 months that I've been here. But as was noted a little while ago, I speak a little more now. So whether that's good or not, I don't know. But I've enjoyed working with you all. I wish you the best. Those of you who are not going to be here, And once again, thank you to our staff
Thank you very much,
for your
William.
time.
Councilor Ostrander.
Well, thank you, Your Worship. I've been thinking about this for a few days as to how I'm going to word this. Hopefully, I don't get too wordy about it because anyway, after a career in public service, I looked at the fact that this was my hometown now, and it has been for several years and will be. So they throw the soil over me, I guess. But so I took the giant step of applying for town council in 2014. Was successful, and then I was successful again in 2018. It's a unique job. It's almost one that people ask you about, and you try to describe it, and you almost have to tell them, well, hang out with us for a month or two or 3 or 4, and maybe you could get some idea of what the decisions we make, the things we deal with, and the various situations that we deal with as well. The staff here in the last 4 years have put together accomplishments that have been laid out on the screen here today that is just unbelievable. I was reading them over the weekend on their online here, and it's just amazing what we've been able to accomplish. Of course, everybody talks about the arena. Well, we certainly have got it up and looking like it's going to be a landmark that we can be really proud of. I think a lot of us took the tour on Friday to get the idea of what just exactly what it's going to look like. It's to the point now where we can almost visualize what's going to take place there. But I have to get back to the staff here and the newer people we've taken on and who have just brought new things to us. Our revamped and new location museum, for instance. Sometimes we overlook things that are so obvious. We walk by them every day type thing. And we refitted the Leo so we can use it for cornucopia, I guess, of things. And it's so nice to have it there for young and old and everything. And the people within this building, I guess they do all the work and then we make the decisions. I guess that's how it sort of unfolds. But this past term, I did, as dark a days as we had during the COVID, I enjoyed being on the emergency measures committee with the mayor and the health unit and OPP, fire department. Everybody by time sat in on the sessions, and we made sure that we kept Prescott as safe as possible during that time. And that was heartwarming to be able to do that. But anyway, after 48 years of public service, I didn't quite make the 50, but anyway, close enough. For personal reasons, I've decided not to run this time, and hopefully we've turning it over to some very capable people who have jumped into the race and have put their names forward again to lead us into a next term or maybe several terms, who knows. But I'd just like to thank the staff, especially my fellow councillors. Matthew Armstrong, you're magic. I don't know how you do all what you do, but you put a lot into a day, into a week, into a month, that type of thing. And but anyway, thanks to everyone, and we'll see you around. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
Wow, that's yeah. You guys, I want to first of all just thank each and every one of you. I was a new guy, 4 years ago, and I remember one of the first meetings I came to attend was an emergency meeting about the Leo, right? So you think about how far we've come from 4 years ago to now. Like that Leo was, almost talk of tearing it down to now We got roller skating on Sunday, and we're using it. We have trade shows, we have hopefully lots of things going on there with Connect Youth and everything. And then, after our tour last week, we've got a brand new rink coming, a whole recreational complex. And that's no easy task. And there's a lot of work that was done. And this council did all that work. And, we'll be coming back for the ribbon cutting for that. So that will be a nice sign for everything going forward. As excited as we are for the new council, we're still sad to lose our current council that we've worked so hard together and accomplished so much. You look at our term and review, and you see how much we really did. And then, we pointed out that we missed a couple of things that are big. There's a lot of little things, and the things that we've done and continue to do through the hard times, like 3 years of COVID, and we're still able to celebrate 40 anniversaries and business openings. So that's a tribute to the 7 people in the room, as well as all of the staff. Like it's been said once, it's not said enough, but our staff are the anchors to this council. They do all the heavy lifting. We hopefully point them in the right direction. So thank you to all of you. I mean, we have some experience coming back, which is good. And Lee's not afraid to say a few words here and there, which will keep us straight, but looking forward to it. And I wish you all the best of luck. I know there's lots going on in your personal lives and private lives as well. So I wish you all the best.
Raymond.
Thank you, Brett. There was no meeting of the Board of Management of St. Lawrence Lodge this past month, so I cannot give you any new details about what's happening at the lodge. But I can say to whatever new counselor receives that assignment to work with the Board of Management at the lodge, be grateful that you got that one because it's a good one. A lot of staff changes up there recently, and we're still short of people, but it is being well run and a huge asset to Eastern Ontario. So because I don't have anything to report there, I'm going to go over a couple of things that I've mentioned in the past, but without the detail. First one was I attended the AGM of Grenville's CFDC, Community Futures Development Corporation. That was back in September. And I want to report that they've been there for 32 years. I'm very pleased to say I was on the founding board of that organization, and listen to this number. Since 1990, the year 1990, they have loaned $35,213,677 to 681 different businesses in Grenville County, and that affected 3,606 staff. New jobs, current jobs, whatever. Their involvement with an organization or a startup is just remarkable. I just can't imagine how we could have done it without the funds of the Grenville Community Futures under the leadership of Heather Lawless, and now Katie Nolan is carrying on that tradition and doing extremely well. And the last thing I had to report from them is that they have a very healthy bank account. They had a very profitable year last year, and that money comes back in and goes back out in loans. So if you're thinking about a small business, you need help in a small business, that would be a good place to start, because traditionally, this organization was once called the lender of last resort, in that sometimes you could not qualify at a bank because of banks' extremely tight circumstances. But you could go to this board, you would be facing friends and neighbors and people that know you or people that know your grandparents or whatever. And they would look in your eyes and be far more sympathetic to loan you money. And while there were some failures, there were an awful lot of successes. So that was 32 years. I also attended an AGM. I guess it wasn't an AGM, it was a celebration of 35 years since 1987 of MTJB, more than just babysitting. And I found some interesting numbers that I was not aware of, which I was not aware. They are operating with 5 locations at the moment. One location is here in Prescott at the TR Leger school site. Maynard, Kempville, 3 locations in Kempville. They have at this moment 432 full-time and part-time students from 250 families. And that's an employment of 80 to 100 staff to look after these children and plan their day's activities and just to make everything far more comfortable for parents that are working in 2 different jobs. So congratulations, Julie Jordan and Ruth Robinson Shea, on the 35 years. They started it, and it has just grown to such a large degree. You remember, Brett, when they were down across from you and the old Baines house, they were there for a couple of years. And anyway, and great for the area. The other thing that I wanted to mention, I was asked to spend some time at the International Plowing Match. Dana has this way of asking that you can't say no to. So while I was out there, I was wandering around and I bumped into a booth from Black Creek Innovations Incorporated. Of course, Black Creek is moving to Prescott. They are in our industrial park. Their building is not quite finished. They still have some, they were waiting for some materials of the inside, and they have landscaping. But when I talked to Sheldon and Stephanie Gilmer, the owners, I said, look, you better get this grand opening coming soon, because I like grand openings and I look forward to cake and ribbon cutting. So they're trying very hard to get it open. And they went out of their way to compliment our staff. They're dealing with Dana, Sean, and Matthew Armstrong. They had nothing but good things to say about the staff and how well they were treated. And they look forward to becoming more involved in our community once they finish off the building and get opening. They're in the wood. What would you say, Dana? They build wood splitters and they sell products that are used in the wood industry. So some of it they manufacture on site, some of it they import and retail. So they will be a good addition to our park, and we wish them all the best. So I guess that leads to my message to the new council, which is before you start knocking things that are happening, find out why they're being done the way they are, find out what course we're going on, and offer suggestions to improve it. Nothing wrong with that. But let's not tear it down until we actually know the background. So you are inheriting a budget, a bank account that has some money in it. As I said earlier, we do have debt. And by the time we finish the rink and the water tower, the new fire truck and $1 million on the Edward Street overpass, we will have some more debentures, but it's good debt. And that's a phrase that came from the auditors. You know, we're spending money on good things that have to be done and will last for generations. So that's the other thing you're inheriting is a great staff. We've all said it, we all mean it. Every now and again, a person would jab me and say, how come you have so many people up at the town hall? And then in the next breath, they'll say, that was a terrific night, November 1st on the pumpkin walk. What a great night that was. Well, who the hell do you think's going to do it if you don't have staff? You know. So we have a great staff. Samantha is doing a super job with recreation, and she'll do more down the road as our recreation field develops, as the new arena gets in full use. And I can't say what, but I have been telling people around this table know, there's a lot out there just on the cusp, you know, new development, new building permits will be taken out. And the next 4 years will be very, very productive under your leadership, Corey, but more important, Matthew Armstrong and his staff. He has assembled a great team of people, and I look forward to attending grand openings, even if I'm not cutting the ribbon. I'll be there for the cake. Anyway, thank you. For those of you, yes, I supersede everyone in the room. You know, in the last 16 years and 8 years with Sandra Lawn back in the 80s, so a total of 24 years in municipal politics. I won't tell you that I've enjoyed every minute of it. There have been some bad minutes, but on the whole, it's been a very enjoyable experience. And I'm 16 years ago when Brett and I came in here, there were some issues that had to be dealt with. And I helped deal with one in the fire department. We were struggling to communicate between the fire department and council, and that was rectified. And it's going strong, and it's to the point where now Rainey just comes up and says, I want a new truck, and we give him go ahead, buy it, you know. Nothing to it. But Rainey has been a terrific addition to our staff complement. And every firefighter that I talk to, just their enthusiasm for the job and what they're doing in the future, they're very excited about it. And I look forward to meeting all of them, 2 weeks, Randy, was it?
Something like that.
Something like that. There's a dinner and I will be there as a guest to thank them for their contribution. So anyway, that's it. I've run this out as long as I can. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Rob. You almost probably talked about as much as I'm going to, right? So it's a little bit of a, I'm gonna be a little longer. I'm gonna try to sum up the last 16 years in a way, so I hope everyone will forgive me. I will try to go as quickly as I can, but I started off thinking about how I was gonna do this a couple weeks ago, and I thought about some themes. And the theme I struck on for this is, how lucky am I? I'm here tonight celebrating 3 terms as mayor, 12 years, 4 years beyond that on council. So been here like with Ray, we've been stuck here, maybe not glued at the hip, but we've been together quite a bit for a lot of the last 16 years. And it's been a pleasure. And you know, how many people get to do that? How many people get to be the mayor of their hometown? In a lot of ways, and you know, there's a lot of times where I certainly wouldn't have put it this way. In a lot of ways, it's been a dream come true. I'm just a kid who grew up on Dibble Street West. Father worked for the town for years. Everybody knows my old man. A lot of people knew my mother too. We're just, you know, average people in an average small town here, Prescott, but a great small town with great people. And that's the common thread that runs through my whole life here in Prescott, from when I went to Central to when I went to South Grenville, when I went away for 10, 11 years and came back. And since I've been back in town, it's a wonderful, wonderful town we have here. And I've really, really been honored to serve as mayor for these last 12 years. But 12 years is a long time, 16 is even longer. So it is time to move on. Time for change. I think the hashtag said we'll talk about that at some point in the future, but it's true. You know, it is time for change. And I felt that myself for a long time. Gore, you knew about it because we talked about it at different times the last few years. You get to the point where you just, you feel like it's time to move on. And I'm at that point, but I'm moving on with just a tremendous sense of gratitude. All the trust of the people in town that I've had over the years. I've had so many people support me in such an overwhelming fashion going back to 2006, when Lori and I first started going door to door in town. It's been a rewarding experience. And it gets you in a small town, when you run for public office, whether it's council or mayor, you get to know people, you get to meet people. And it really does. Whether you succeed or you fail at the election, there's really no failure, because you get to know your town more and you're putting yourself out there, and it's very, very, very rewarding. So I wanted the first section, I just want to talk about my personal feelings of gratitude for everyone who has supported me along the way, those who haven't supported me along the way, everyone that has thrown a criticism my way. I've always tried to learn from that and to try to hear people and to help them in their issues, because a lot of the times, you know, when people throw even the harshest criticism at you, it comes from a base where somebody really just wants to be heard, and you have to look at things, take the step into their shoes. It's very important, and it's something you always have to look at, no matter what position you have in town. So I wanted to thank a number of people. I'll just run through a pretty quick list here, if I can. I've had a number of friends that helped me all the way. I want to mention Jeff Crawford, Mike Doris, Rick Whitley, Pat Johnson, as good friends that backed me from day one. There's others in town. Members of the Old Loyalist Days committee were huge supporters of me in the political efforts, as well as I moved on to mayor. The old library board, which was Lori chaired it after I did. I chaired it for a few years on the expansion. That was a great experience. I love that library. It's been a huge part of my life since I was just a little kid when my mother first got me my library card, and just wonderful experiences volunteering for those organizations. I've got to thank all our staff here at Town Hall. We've said a lot about the current Town Hall staff, and it's superb for all the reasons that I've mentioned, but I want to go back in time a little bit. I want to mention Robert Haller. who was here when I was first on council, from 06 to 10. Robert was, I believe, a good man, and he's always been a good friend. I want to thank Robert for his contributions to the town, and he's still a big part of this town as a volunteer in many areas. Robert, thanks so much for all your hard work on behalf of the town all those years ago. It's not forgotten. The other CAO I want to mention right off the top is Randy Helmer. Randy, maybe you'll watch this at some point. I know think you're recovering from surgery right now, but we'll talk again soon. But and I've told you this before, when you left in 2015, I couldn't have done it without you. That the first 4 years were challenging at times, and Randy Helmer is the one that helped get me through it. Always be a great friend, always cherish that friendship. Great man, and still much missed here 7 years later, almost to the day that he left town. Now, he left in 2015, and I can't say enough for Randy, and just a fantastic person and very much missed in Prescott. Alana Arthurs is another one from my first term into my term as mayor. Another wonderful person we had here for a number of years. She's moved on. She's a CAO now up in Douro-Dummer near Peterborough. A lot of people do remember Alana fondly in town as well. She was a great part of the staff for a long time. Want to mention two other people, Steve Clark and Gord Brown. Unfortunately, Gord's no longer with us. Both Steve and Gord, great friends. Steve has always been a tremendous friend to Prescott overall. I can't say enough for how he went to bat for us for the arena funding and for anything else we ever needed Steve for. And Gordy, been gone now 4 years. Miss him all the time. We were good friends, and that was something that was just beyond politics, and he was just a great guy all around, and it's still hard to believe that he isn't here. But he is fondly remembered by so many whose lives he touched in all his years of public service, and never be forgotten. A few other things I just wanted to mention. I can't mention everyone, but some great people around the region as well. The St. Lawrence Corridor, David Beatty, and David, of course, was tremendously instrumental with the arena fundraising. Shelley Bacon as well was our representative in the corridor. Great friends, great people that have been huge supporters. Charlie Mignot with the corridor as well. Another fantastic person. The whole corridor crew has just been great. Want to mention a few local mayors. Roger Haley at the head of the line. Roger's a great friend, and I mentioned Gory. Rely on him with the counties. He's just a great guy and someone who'll never steer you wrong. He's someone who he's just rock solid. Dave Henderson. Dave and I are good friends as well. We spent a lot of time together, joint services and elsewhere. And I think the world of Dave. Leslie O'Shaughnessy, former mayor of Cornwall. Sean Pankow, mayor and reelected. Congrats, Sean, from Smiths Falls. I want to thank Doug Malenka, of course. We all know Doug in this room. Doug was a hugely instrumental part of all the joint work we did with Augusta, great partner for progress. And Doug, just, I can't say enough. Mel Campbell, though, as well. Some people in the room know Mel. He hasn't been mayor locally since, I think, 2014 now, which is quite a while ago. But Mel and I were really the ones that got that Augusta partnership first rolling. When Mel came up to me after our very first joint services meeting in Brockville, we have a coffee with me. So, of course, Mel. And then it just started from there. And that's how it goes. It's just those friendly relationships. Same thing with the people that I met in the mayor's caucus over the years. It's just about, you can go into it and you think, hey, I'm the mayor of this little town, Prescott, and you're dealing with the mayors of Kingston, Peterborough, and so on. But when you're all in the room together, you're all mayors. You all have common purpose. You all have common goals, and you make friends and you work together, and great things come of that. That's everything, actually. Friendship and working together. So I just want to thank everyone there, just from that personal aspect, all the current staff. I've reached out to a lot of people personally as well, and I'll be doing more in the next little while, just to thank them, because obviously I'm always going to miss certain people here. So the other thing I want to talk about, I'm very fortunate tonight because I'm here to celebrate a lot of achievements. Matt's already gone over a lot of them in the last 4 years. But I have to note, we've got 12 years of steady achievement here in town. I think we've really done well. I ran for mayor because I saw in council in 06-10 how much wasn't working, how much wasn't being done, and how much needed to change to allow Prescott to really thrive and start reaching for its potential. And part of that, as we talked about here, and it's a perfect point, the staff. Ray made a perfect comment about Sam. You know, oh my, I got all these people at town hall. Well, you need people, because if you don't have people at town hall, you're not going to have those great events. You're not going to have the economic development outreach. You don't have that. And we didn't have that in 2010. We had basically a CAO and a deputy clerk. We didn't have an ECDev department. We didn't have full-time recreation or anything of the sort. And that was built around this council table. We brought all that in and we connected that to the town. That ECDev department was huge. Building the clerk's department was huge. Giving support to the CAO. So the CAO of the time and now actually could do that job of managing the entire team and running the whole show without having to run off and, help fix the photocopier at times, things that I saw that, Robert Haller did at times here. So in a lot of ways, I think we've really built, and I think we're turning over to the new council, a bit of a turnkey operation. And I think that's been bolstered by everything that everyone said here tonight about how great our staff is. And that did come from this council table. We've built a solid town hall with great people that do so many fantastic things. And we even did it, with the branding. Like we changed all that back in 2010, 2012. Paul Boyvan, someone else who's very much messed, along with Mike Laking, helped us revamp the logo, build that forward. We got the Todd sign on the 401, and you see it today with all our online efforts, all the merchandise. I mean, everybody, look at the sweatshirts, everything that's available down the museum. People can say that's not a big deal, but it is. We've established a brand for the town, an identity that goes beyond just us talking about how great it is. Hell, if you really like it, you can buy the t-shirt. It's great to have that sort of merchandise, and people really appreciate it. It makes a difference. And that new, functionality with town hall and everything as well. It's all worked together with the social media presence, which of course can be a two-edged sword, as we all know, but we've been a leader there as well. So not only have we built an administration that just works better than we've ever had before, we've also reached out to the town to make it more inclusive as well and let people know that we're all in this together. It's all one Prescott. And, dealing with some of that has been, a challenge over the years, because we have had the negative attitude at different times. And, but I think we've really strongly overcome that. So I want to touch on some of what we've done in the town, like the physical rejuvenation. And this is probably the long part, but I'll try to go quick because Matthew's covered a lot of this. When I came in 2010, we had mostly crumbling infrastructure. We had a 1967 arena with the original ice plant floor. We had an ancient fire hall that actually had essentially a river running from the north to the south in it. It was in such terrible shape. We had contaminated asphalt wasteland on the Old Town dock. We had the water tower, which was built to a standard that I think was deemed obsolete from about the moment it was built in the 70s. We had Centennial Park, the pool at Kelly's Beach, hadn't really been touched for a very long time, let alone upgraded. Had old street lighting, had miles and miles of collapsing sidewalks. We had major road work needed to be done all over town. We had an empty industrial park along the 401. We had a power center on the south side of the 401 where there wasn't much commercial development that had happened there for a decade. Got a harbor with docks that were dating back to the 1980s. Kinsman Amphitheater that was overgrown with dead trees and seats that were all heaving and rolling. We had a town clock that didn't keep the time. We all remember that well, where the clock was always running off. And we also had an issue where residential starts were slow to non-existent. And I've got to say now we've come a hell of a long way. We've got the new arena opening in 2023. We're maintaining the Leo, new fire hall. We built Riverwalk Park, and we're continuing to add to that every year with the sun sails, and the water tower is coming. Centennial Park, splash pad, the heated pool, which I'll note a lot of parents and a lot of kids thanked us for that a few years ago. We've got those Muskoka chairs downtown. We've got the Y program. We've got so much going on. LED street lighting, can't forget that. That's been a nice green touch. Sidewalk reconstruction, I think Matt put the number up there, but how much more sidewalk work we've done. You've got Dibble Street East, you've got St. Lawrence Street, Linda, Henry, all these major projects, roadworks that have been completed the last few years that have been hanging over the town for decades. St. Lawrence Street's the big one. I mean, that needed to be worked on for I don't know how many years, and we got that done. The industrial park's now filled completely. Ray mentioned Blacks Creek. We got Elantra. We've got the Patel Travel Plaza coming in on the way with possibly a hotel that's long needed here in Prescott. Viking Energy across the street, although there's another name for them as well, and I can't remember right now. That's in there next to the OPP station. So we've got jobs, tax revenue, and that new travel plaza will bring more people into Prescott than ever before. Commercial center on the south side, we had added the Ultramar back earlier on my time as mayor, changed that entire area. Now we've got the Dollarama coming, and there's more to come there. We've rebuilt much of the marina, rebuilt much of the lighthouse down there. Kinsman Amphitheater totally revamped with landscaping, new fencing. We rebuilt that town clock, and we've got all that coming residential. We've announced that in the last few weeks, but I think it's roughly 200 new home unit starts that are coming in the next little while, if all goes well there. You never know at the end of the day on that, but that's really laid the groundwork for significant growth in Prescott. It's not all been entirely positive. We've still got the downtown challenges, but the numbers were mentioned on the CIP, and that's a big thing as well. That has been moving forward. We do have the apartment building down there. We just did the ribbon cutting for Ashley Davies' property. Ben Quenville's done great work down there. John Harding's done work done at the corner of King and Center as well with H&R Block and that whole building. So the downtown is coming along. We've got the new town hall, of course, the Prescott Pavilions, the new town hall. That's getting ahead of myself a little bit. The one thing that I'm really glad about the museum down there is we do have a municipal presence on King Street for the first time since the old town hall was taken down. There is a part of me that does walk away from here wishing we'd made more of an effort to move the town hall to the downtown location. And maybe that's something that can be looked at still in the future. I still think that the downtown, that's what the town hall needs to be, but that's something that's far off. And I like this building, but there would be something huge to be able to move back downtown. Couple other comments about some of the things we've done for people. Pride. I want to thank all of council for being on board with the Pride celebrations. What we did there to paint the crosswalk. Joan Hodge, I want to thank her for everything she did there coming forward. The Indigenous, I think that was noted earlier, Indigenous recognition, the land acknowledgement, what we're doing at the museum, what we're doing with the pathways downtown as well that we've done, and so forth. It's all about people in the end, and I think we've done a tremendous amount of work there to make people feel like Prescott really is their hometown, really is their home community, and make them feel welcome. Pride did that a lot. I think some of the Indigenous outreach has done that and will continue to do that. The youth programming that's already been mentioned, I mean, there's some great stuff happening there all the way around as well. Finally, and I'm sure you're all really waiting for me to say finally, I think I'm awful lucky to be leaving now too, to be honest. There are a couple reasons for that. And the first, of course, is we have such good people in place. I did mention, I think we're turning over a turnkey operation here to a certain extent. I think we have tremendous staff. I think we've got a great organization overall. We call it the top team, Town of Prescott team, and it really is a top team. That it's not just an acronym, it really does work. We've got people in here that operate the height of professionalism and ambitious as well. And I'll say again, I'm glad Ray mentioned, but I did mention to you, Sam, last week, that pumpkin parade. That's just a great example. Some people can call it a small thing, but it's not. You had 400, 500, 600 people walking that downtown, enjoying the band, enjoying Tinted Wisdom. I better get the plug in for the boys, enjoying the band, enjoying just the atmosphere and everything. That's huge. That's one of the best events I've ever attended in town, to be honest. And it just means that we're really set up to move forward. So when I leave tonight, I really think that things are going to just get even better. There's just so many good things that are on the way. So much that's being left in the hands of such good people. And Gory coming in, the new council, congratulations to all that have been reelected. We know the town's in good hands. And the other thing I'll say is I know we're leaving the finances in solid shape. We haven't talked about it too much, but despite all we've done, and we have taken on debt, good debt, we've kept the taxes down. We kept water and sewer rates to zero for, I think, a decade or close to it. Even now, we're just sort of beginning to bring them up because of some potential concerns about making sure the reserves are bolstered. So we're leaving the town in excellent shape. The other reason I'll say I think I'm lucky to be leaving now. I think we are headed for some challenging times. It was mentioned we've got a recession on the way. We do have inflation, a lot of challenges to people in a small town, and that's something that's going to have to be really looked at in the new council. And I know it will be because we've got good people coming in. We've always kept the taxes down. We've always kept an eye on making sure this town is affordable for all, and I know that's going to continue. I won't offer any specific advice to the new council. It's not my place, but the only thing I will leave those here with is this. You have to lead. Don't settle for rubber stamping staff recommendations. Don't just accept what staff brings to the council table. They're great people, they're experts, and they have the town's best interests in mind all the time. But you're elected to lead, and you need to do that. You need to value yourselves. Too often the role of municipal politicians, it's not respected enough by both the pay, the roles, the way it's just looked at in the community. People look at it too much as a part-time job. It's more than that. It's something that occupies a tremendous place in the community, and it starts with respecting yourselves around the table, whether that comes to pay raises, whether that comes to working conditions, whether that comes to not accepting abuse online and so forth. There has to be more respect for municipal councils across the board, and it starts with respecting ourselves and the valuable role that councils do. So I would just say that you need to be visionaries. You need to be agents of change. Don't lock yourself into a budget, dream big, and then let the budget bring the dream down to a little more reality, to something you can afford. But make sure you have that vision first and foremost. And really, finally, this time I promise, I've just got to make a couple of quick comments about family, what it all comes down to. And we're all the authors of our own lives, but there's always another hand on that pen, whether it's somebody that's come before or somebody that's still with us. We all have that in our lives if we're fortunate. I've been really fortunate, wonderful parents, father that's still with me. It's COVID right now, though, although he's doing quite well, but I just want to get that out there, and best wishes to my father for quick recovery there. But I want to mention Lori most of all, because it all comes back down to her for me. Everybody in town knows, because she was quite open about it, and I'm incredibly proud of her for doing so. And I'm going to bawl again a little bit. So, but when she had the cancer last year and needed the surgery, and it was such a shock, but the strength she showed for all of it was absolutely, I couldn't have done it myself. And it was something incredible to behold. And I just want to thank her so much for living with this municipal politics thing for all these years. It all goes back to the partner you have at home, folks. And I had the absolute best. And I can't say that I didn't bring this place home too often. It's almost impossible not to, given some of the things we do go through. But I just want to say just how much you meant to me through all of this. Nothing was possible without you in any way, shape, or form. And I just want to make sure that that's noted. And I want to also say to everyone around here, as this comes up in the meetings every now and again, where someone will acknowledge all the elected. Don't just acknowledge the elected if you're ever in that position. Acknowledge the partners for sure. because they are very much, takes a duo to do a lot of this, or a whole family. Please acknowledge that, because it's so important. With that, final words, I just want to wish those coming after me, both here in this council table and the other councils around the area, want to wish all of you all the love and support and success that I felt over these last 16 years serving the town of Prescott. And may the very best be yet to come for all of us here, for all of you, and for our hometown, our little fort town, Prescott. That's actually it. So, yeah, go ahead.
On behalf of the town of Prescott, we wish to present each of our representatives that we're treating us. Our appreciation. Mayor Todd.
Oh, nice.
I'm going to take that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Councilor Johnson.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. I love it. Thank you. It's like it almost looks fake.
Yeah.
Painted on.
I'd say.
Oh, that's nice too. That's my neighbor.
Center of our town. Is a better word.
Don't get me started.
Last but certainly not least. Councilor Yancy.
No, nice.
All the photos are lovely, but this one I particularly like because, I was involved in harbor, was involved in relations.
Absolutely. Thank you. On behalf of staff,
You left you hanging.
on behalf of staff, we truly appreciate everyone that has participated in this term, and we certainly give you a standing ovation.
And I think that takes us through to item 21, or confirming bylaw. That's 47-2022. Recommendation reads that bylaw 47-2022 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the council meeting held November 7th, 2022 be read and passed, signed with the mayor and clerk, and sealed by the seal of the corporation. Can I get a move up, please? Moved by Councilor Ostrander, seconded by Councilor Young. Any discussion? All in favor? Motion carried. And adjournment. Recommendation reads that the meeting be adjourned to Monday, November 21st, time being 7:18. Motion, Councilor Jansman.
Yeah.
Seconder, Councilor Young. All in favor? Thanks, folks. It's been fun.
Have to do it louder than that.